Damage isn't only about physical DPS in Borderlands 4, you also have a whole elemental system to think about. There are 5 types of elemental damage, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Knowing your elemental damage types and how they work is crucial to success and is a huge part of combat in Borderlands 4. Let's go over everything you need to know about the elemental chart, so you know how to fight each and every enemy type. Other than just physical damage, weapons can deal one of 5 different types of elemental damage: incendiary, cryo, shock, corrosive, and radiation. The type of damage you want to deal to a certain enemy will depend on what color their health bar is and whether or not they have a shield equipped. To find out what kind of damage a certain weapon deals, check the info in your inventory. You can either find the information listed in the weapon's description, or spot the icons off to the side of the weapon while it's in your weapon wheel. If there's no element listed, it simply does normal kinetic damage. Also keep in mind that a lot of weapons have alternate firing types, which could change the elemental damage the weapon puts out. The description is where you will also find the weapon's DOT stats. DOT stands for damage over time, which allows your attack to deal passive damage to your opponent. The percentage next to your elemental damage information shows the chance you have of dealing passive DOT. The damage per second indicates how much damage over time will be inflicted if you inflict that status. It's pretty easy to see when it's inflicted, as they'll turn that color, start screaming, and have these numbers pop off their heads. In addition to weapons, you can also deal elemental damage via canisters in the world and skills. Each Vault Hunter has their own set of skills that they can learn and use in battle, and many of these harness the power of one of the 5 elements. Not every Vault Hunter can learn every type of elemental damage except for Vex. She's the only one who can harness every elemental damage type through her innate abilities. There are 3 colors of health bar, each of which relates to one of the 3 enemy types: red for flesh enemies, yellow for armored enemies, and blue for shielded enemies. Most of these types are quite intuitive, so you'll learn to tell them apart before you even check their health bar. Flesh-type enemies are usually animals or beasts without any armor. Armor-type enemies are usually robots, timekeeper armatures, or hardier beasts, and shields can be donned by anything capable of creating and using defensive garments, armored or flesh-type alike. Each enemy type is weak to something in Borderlands 4. We'll pop up the full table in a second, but in general, you'll want to use incendiary weapons against red health bars for flesh enemies, corrosive against yellow health bars for armored enemies, and shock against blue health bars for shielded enemies. Cryo is also good against armor, and radiation is good against shields. It's not super worth it to switch for every enemy, especially in the early game, as they'll still die pretty quickly, but if you're in an area full of armored enemies or fleshy bandits, or playing on the hardest difficulty where elemental weaknesses plays a much larger role, you'll know which weapons you want to gravitate to. Exclusive to Vex is a special status effect called Bleed, found mostly on the Vexcalation skill tree. Bleed is a status effect you can apply through using kinetic weapons, meaning you can inflict damage over time with non-elemental guns. Because it counts as a status effect, passives that affect status effect chance and damage will both apply to Bleed, but it performs the same against enemies of all 3 health bar types. There's also a passive on the right side of the 4th seal skill tree that lets you apply Curse, which means they'll take kinetic status effect damage, that is Bleed, anytime they take gun damage. This ties into particular builds for her as well that focus on lifesteal, but for the purpose of this video, we just wanted to mention that she has a unique status effect she can apply. Now that you know how elemental damage works, go out there and melt some fools with it. And while you're here, check out our guide on how to swap equipment between characters. For everything else gaming, you're already in the right place. IGN.
Consume them, my pretty!